call to order the Common Council meeting for Monday, April 12th, 6 p.m. Can everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Is Vivian on the line?
Ms. Daniels, roll call.
First District Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez.
Here.
Second District Councilman Lenny Francisci.
Present.
Third District Councilman Terrence Hill. Third District Councilman Terrence Hill.
Here.
Fourth District Councilwoman Stacy Winfield.
Present.
Fifth District Councilman Robert Garcia.
Present.
Fourth District Councilwoman Gilda Orange.
I'm in the 6th district and I'm here.
I'm sorry, Sixth District Councilwoman Gilda Orange.
Here.
She said present.
Councilman at Large Dwayne Ransiford.
Present.
Councilman at Large Kenneth Monroe.
Present.
Council President Miliano Perez.
Let the record reflect Council President Perez called me, he couldn't make it, he had an emergency, so I had to step in. I just ask everybody that's online to please put your mics on mute, please. First order of business is public hearing. First public hearing on Ordinance 210006, sponsoring Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for Public Works Department. Is somebody here to speak up on it? Mr. Sid, if you could just discuss the ordinance.
Good evening, Board, Council. Yeah, this is all for our projects that we have coming up. Johnson Control, City Hall, smoke detector testing, Schiller elevator, Johnson Control access to elevators, Bozak Ford, we're asking for $15,000 for repairs and maintenance on Ford trucks. That's for our department, Public Works. Red Ford, $5,000. That's for repair and maintenance on Ford trucks. Lawn maintenance amps, we're asking for appropriation of funds, and that's for city-owned properties, lawn maintenance. That's for like $227,635.55. Lawn maintenance parks, that's for $477,000. Parks and special locations for lawn maintenance. And then we have Great Lakes Landscaping for $78,770,000 for what did I say, lawn maintenance parks there, or Great Lakes Landscaping? No. The lawn maintenance parks for $477,000. That's for parks and special locations for land maintenance. And we got Great Lakes Landscaping. That's for watering the flower and maintenance for $78,770,000. Great Lakes Landscaping, $13,780 for city planners, those boxes. Great Lakes Landscaping for City Hall and Mayor's planners. The boxes there around the City Hall and the Mayor's office there, around the flowers. Also, Great Lakes Landscaping for $3,617 for the watering reimbursements. And Cummings Landscaping for $152,962 for planting flowers and maintenance. And this is for a resolution for ordinance of 21-006. And for the amount, we are asking for $1 million. The total is $976,859.87.
I just ask that the council hold their questions until the ordinance is up for vote, because this is a public hearing. This is for the public to say yea or nay. So the question part will be when the ordinance comes up for vote.
Okay?
Anybody in the audience saying, Councilman Hill?
Yeah, Mr. Vice President, who's sitting in for the president. To keep this in an orderly fashion and as expeditiously as we possibly can, like you all did last week, because everybody should have the information in their packet, and if they took it out and have read it, you all don't need to go back over everything item by item. If you should say like we did last time, if anybody have any questions.
Point of order?
I'm talking.
Mr. President, yes, I'm about to tell you something. Mr. President, but I got, Mr. President, I said a point of order. I said a point of order.
Point of order.
Point of order.
I have a point of a question.
Yes, but I'm gonna clarify that right now. This is a public hearing.
I know.
Mr. Hill, Councilman Hill, Councilman Hill, this is a public hearing where they must express what's on the ordinance.
Wait a minute. Last time they did that, they said.
It was not a public hearing. This is a public hearing. No, it was not.
Well, what was it in then? J.R. said, well, with track of time, can they just express themselves, because we have everything here, and they don't need to go over, that's double information. We have it here, just refer to what we have here, and if anybody have any questions, later on, let's bring them up. I'm done with it. See what they're gonna say.
This is a public hearing. All these ordinances that's up for public hearing must be expressed, it must be go through, so. Next ordinance is ordinance 210007, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Additional appropriation ordinance for technology, IT department.
Good evening, Council. Kevin Klosek, System Administrator for the City of Chicago, and I'm here to basically present to the public the generalized information for ordinance 21-007. And within that ordinance was requested appropriation for funding for public security cameras throughout the city, as well as communications. That was for a total of $450,000. Also, the upgrade, to the public safety facility, integrated security system. That was an amount of $300,000, and as well as the upgrade of the cameras within the public safety facility. That was a total of $150,000. Then from the general fund, we had requested a total of $117,675 for other services and charges, which are basically operating software charges and software maintenance, as well as in the general fund, capital outlays for equipment, which was a total of $120,190.
Kevin, I want to thank you for the additional information we got in this packet. Anybody in the audience for or against? Not hearing none. Next ordinance for public hearing is ordinance 210008, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for the fire department.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Chief Carpenter, Chicago Fire. Okay, for the ordinance, we have repairs. We have Pomps Tire Service, the amount of $4,579.10. Those are 4 tires that are needed for our ladder truck.
Anybody in the audience for or against? Hearing none? Thank you. Fire Chief, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next ordinance, 210009, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for Police Department.
Good evening, Council. Deputy Chief Revere with East Chicago. The Chief's on vacation, so I'm here on his behalf. For Ordinance 21-0009, that was an appropriation for $81,000 we requested for our rules and regulations to be updated by Lexipol. Our jail cell repair, we have a cell for special needs and violent criminals that is completely padded, that needs to be repaired. And then an upgrade to our gun range, the backdrop is full of lead and has to be replaced so that when we're using the range, the rounds don't bounce back to us. So that's all it was for.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Rivera. Anybody in the audience for or against it? Not hearing none. Next ordinance for public hearing is ordinance 210010, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for Marina Port Authority.
Good evening, Council. My name is Natalie Adams, the manager of the East Chicago Marina. Regarding ordinance number 21-0010, this ordinance encompasses a lot. We have a lot, since we're not fully open with COVID, there are still some things that we're not going to do this year. We're fully open to the boaters and some small things, but while we're shut down, we're trying to do any repairs and things that we need to do, whether it's equipment or the property itself. So in this ordinance includes repairs to the travel lift, $23,000. The fencing completely around the marina needs to be replaced. It's the original, $148,000. The transient dock needs to be brought up to state code for how it's fastened to the wall. The guardhouse is original. It needs to be replaced and brought up to code. We fell short for our payment for water and sewage before the end of the year, and hydrant rental, $9,000 for the water sewage, $3,000 for the water hydrant rental. The wood fishing pier, which is an eyesore and it's in decay. It cannot be utilized at all once we had it inspected. So to bring it up where we can at least let kids and residents come and fish off of that wood fishing pier, $120,000. We fall short with our insurance payment, $81,000. NIPSCO gas usage, $64,000. That includes the gas and electricity. Marina windows, we have a lot of windows with the broken seals where the windows start to get that white flakiness in between. So to replace the ones that need to be replaced, $38,000. We'd like to add a bar to one of our venue spaces so that we don't have to set up a temporary space every time someone rents it, $36,000. Fence along the beach back parking lot, it's falling down in several sections, $46,000. And parking meters for when the beach and the stadium, and this encompassed quite a few things. Now, I'm not sure if engineering put this in their ordinance. I believe it's just in mine because initially I was over that project. But these meters would be for Brock Stadium, one at the beach, one at the golf course. It would make users be able to easily be able to, whether it's pay to park or pay to golf, be able to utilize services a little easier. Total of $666,000.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Anybody for or against this? Not hearing none. Next ordinance for public hearing is ordinance 21-011, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland and Councilman Terrence Hill. Additional appropriation ordinance for the building department.
Good evening, everyone. This ordinance is for $703,000, and it's $700,000 is towards the West Calumet housing, and $3,000 is just for supplies for both the office and for the inspectors.
Thank you, James Portolano. Anybody for or against this? Not hearing none. Next ordinance for public hearing is ordinance 210012, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Additional appropriation ordinance for planning department.
Thank you, council members. So today we're requesting $285,000. That encompasses the North Harbor and Citywide Facade Program, along with surveys and training as a program we use for the EEO compliance. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to address them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody for or against this ordinance? Not hearing none, we'll go to the next ordinance. Next ordinance for public hearing is 210012, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Additional appropriation ordinance, for the planning department, That's the one we just read. The next one is ordinance for public hearing is ordinance 210013, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Additional appropriation ordinance for Department of Redevelopment.
Good evening, Commissioners. This particular ordinance is for taxpayers and additional appropriations for other services and charges at $352,500, capital outlays for $160,000, totaling to $512,500. And then under gaming 0242, we're looking at other services and charges at $160,000, and then economic development 0218 for capital outlays $100,000. Totaling up to what we're asking for. Hopefully we can receive these dollars so we can move forward on an economic level.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Anybody in the audience for or against this? Not hearing none. Next ordinance for public hearing is ordinance 210014, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Additional appropriation ordinance for engineering department.
Members of the council and the engineering department. This ordinance pertains to personnel, supplies within the office for a total of $192,854.27. Various projects throughout the city, which include citywide striping, ADA ramps, Koski Bike Trail, our Opticom improvement technology at the intersections that have signal lights, improvements to Kennedy Avenue, alley resurfacing and drainage fixes for around $4 million. We also have around $1.5 million within NVH for our portion, our obligation for Guthrie. And then we also have around $500,000 for concrete repairs and emergencies if they come up.
Is that it, Mr. Allen? Is that it? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Thank you, Mr. Allen, I appreciate that. Anybody in the audience for or against this public hearing appropriation? Not hearing none. Next ordinance for public hearing is ordinance 210015, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Additional appropriation ordinance for Health Department.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Diana Garcia Burns, the Director of the Health Department. We are asking for $18,000 for our beach grant and to test our beach waters. It's a contract with Microbat, and we have it every year.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia Burns.
Thank you.
Anybody in the audience for or against this public appropriation in the public hearing? Hearing none. Last public hearing is on ordinance 210018, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Additional appropriation ordinance for ECPD Police Forfeiture Fund 0278.
Good evening again, Council. Deputy Chief Rivera with the Police Department. The ordinance for 21-0018 is an appropriation for $5,000 for undercover purchases of narcotics and to pay our informants. So we request it every year.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Anybody for or against this appropriation? Not hearing none. We go to regular meetings. Clerk? Oh, yes.
If we could just note for the benefit of the minutes that the public hearings are closed on 210006 through 210015 and 210019, just to show that the hearings are closed.
You're talking about the whole range, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Just to note that the public hearings are closed.
Public hearings are hereby closed for ordinance 210006, ordinance 210007, ordinance 21008, ordinance 21009, ordinance 210010, ordinance 21011, ordinance 210012, ordinance 210013, ordinance 210014, ordinance 210015, and ordinance 210018. The public hearing portion is hereby closed. Any minutes of the meeting?
Yes, public hearing and regular meeting Monday, March 8th, 2021, and regular meeting Monday, March 22nd, 2021.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Francisci, seconded by Councilman Lucifer. Any questions? Any hearing none? Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Francisci,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransiford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Any communication from the mayor?
No.
Any communication from department heads?
Yes, accounts payable warrant 040621CC. Accounts payable warrant 041221CB. Accounts payable warrant 0412CC. Accounts payable warrant 0412LE.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman Gonzalez?
I'd like to pull, and it's PO number 200778, and the payment numbers are 227606 and 228157. They are for Verizon GPS equipment and payment.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, Council President,
Yes.
can she repeat those numbers?
Yes.
Yes, the PO number is 200778, and the payment numbers are 227606, 228157.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the accounts payable? Not hearing none? Roll call?
Gonzalez,
Excuse me, hold on. Yes.
Was that a motion? Were you making a motion?
Yes, a motion to pull those.
Yeah, okay, I didn't hear a motion. I thought she just wanted to pull. Is there a motion on the floor to pull those warrants? Is there a second?
Second. Excuse me, I had a question.
Yes.
I couldn't hear the whole thing. What was she pulling? I'm sorry. I caught the numbers, but I didn't hear exactly what it was and what's it for.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
I'm pulling the payments for Verizon for GPS. I have asked in the past twice, it's been over a month, for a rundown of exactly what those, what it entails, and I still haven't got an answer, so until I get an answer or some more information, I'd like to pull those.
Second.
Yes, so the motion is made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Any other questions? On the motion to pull those claims. Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes?
Francisci,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange?
No.
She said no.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
She said no. Councilwoman Orange said no.
Ransford?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Motion passed. Motion to pass the rest of Prince Carnival. Any questions on that? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Francisci?
Yes.
Hill?
Abstain.
Winfield?
Yes.
Garcia?
No.
Orange?
Yes.
Ransford?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Payroll warrant monthly 040121 and payroll warrant biweekly 031921.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Monroe, second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Any questions? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Francisci?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield?
Yes.
Orange?
Yes.
Ransford?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes. Next on the agenda is redevelopment 2020 annual report. Mr. Dalton, please.
Council members, Steve Dalton, financial advisor. In front of you, you have the annual report that is delivered from the Redevelopment Commission to your body. You have no action that you have to take. You're merely receiving this report as information of the activities that took place in 2020 by the Redevelopment Commission. Mostly what we'd be focused on would be the allocation areas, or TIF, as we like to call them, tax increment financing areas, that have been established over the years. Those TIFs collect money. Many of those TIFs are used to pay bond payments on developments that have been approved in many years over the years, like U.S. Gypsum, the Annex project with Hoistlift. So it's a report to you. It tells you what they did last year, how much money they brought in, the debt payments they made, and the employees that work for the Redevelopment Commission. I can answer questions, though I will know a lot less than Frank if you get into specifics, but the report does not require an action by this body.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. It was a pretty extensive report. We just got it last week. I suggest that if my fellow council members do go through it, just to follow with any questions with you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Councilwoman Orange?
Redevelopment, like who gets loans or who is that private, or is that, because that's federal money, is it public?
So there are different tranches of dollars. The Redevelopment Commission property tax money, the TIF money, is totally private, and any bonds that are issued for private developers are publicly available, and you have to approve them. So any bond that has ever been issued by the Redevelopment Commission or the city, this council would have approved, and it would not have been able to be issued without you doing so. Grant money is a little different. CDBG from the federal government, home investment, I'm probably using the terms wrong, but those are federal grants, and federal grants come to the city by nature of its rankings in terms of poverty, in terms of structural challenges, and you have to appropriate the dollars, but the dollars are not necessarily yours to control where they go once you appropriate them to the use of the Redevelopment Commission.
So if I went in today and I asked, or maybe Frank may know this, if I asked for a list of the people that had homeowners loans or who were granted the $10,000 to $15,000, would that be available for as public?
Frank, are the down payment assistance homeowners a publicly available list, or is that considered confidential?
It's considered confidential. I mean, I give addresses, but I can't give names.
addresses but not names.
Okay.
Thank you. Next person, Diane Garcia Burns, Director of Health Department.
Good evening, Council. I'm here to discuss our uptick in our COVID cases for the city of East Chicago. Dr. Benchik has executed an order for us to stay.
Excuse me, Diane, can you bring that microphone down?
sorry.
The clerk is having a hard time hearing people because of the mask, so if we could speak louder, you know.
I'll take this off.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. I'll start all over. We're seeing an uptick in the COVID cases in the city of East Chicago. And because of that, Dr. Benchik has ordered us to go to 4.5, or what the Lake County does is color coded, which is yellow. We are seeing those who have been fully vaccinated coming down with COVID. So we have an order, and of course, Dr. Benchik and our board and I have went over this, and it's important for our city. We're going to continue the mask mandate. We will allow the businesses and those gatherings to be at 50%, depending on how our rates uptick or go down. So right now, we're at 50% for gatherings. And we don't want to not have the businesses operating, because we know how that affects our businesses here in Chicago. But we have to be very, very careful in what steps that we take. So there is a mask mandate. We're going to continue with the order, which is 2021-04. I gave you all a copy of it. It's also in the clerk's office. It's important for us to stay on top of this. Who would have known that after people are fully vaccinated that they will be coming down with COVID? Of course, the symptoms aren't as severe, but they are positive for COVID. Also, unfortunately, we have ticked up to 0.17% of positive COVID cases in Chicago. Any questions?
Any questions from the council? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
I know that the governor I did away with the mask mandate. I forget what day it was, but
The 6th.
and I know that some of the businesses are confused. I totally agree with the mandate and us staying at 4.5. Do all of our businesses, do they have notice that they still have to have that mask mandate?
Yeah, some inspectors are going out and notifying them. We're also going to give them a copy.
Okay.
And we're probably going to develop, again, some posters to post and put a date on it.
Okay.
Any other questions from any council person? Right here.
Wayne Ransford.
Yes.
I have a question. My question is in regards to, you said the positivity rate. Obviously, I know the health department tests individuals outside the city of East Chicago. Would that rate only reflect those that are within the city, or just the total positivity rate of everyone that's being tested?
No, we only track East Chicago. Lake County is responsible for those cities that do not have a health department. So Gary tracks Gary, East Chicago tracks East Chicago, and Lake County tracks the rest of the cities within Lake County.
Okay.
So that's our positivity rate for East Chicago. Although we test people from all over the country, we don't keep up with those positivities. Those go to their area in which they live.
Okay. And you were saying that you're having people that are fully vaccinated actually come back with positive COVID?
Yes, I was notified Friday evening from the Indiana State Department of Health that we have people in our community that were fully vaccinated that now are positive for COVID.
That's scary.
It is. And I think what it is, as we read and try and keep educated, it's the variants now.
Right. Okay. Those are the questions I had.
Any other questions? Any other questions? I want to thank the Health Department staff. Ms. Burns, you and your staff has been great. I know you guys have been working extended hours, working 6 days out of the week, but I know mentally and physically you've been working 7 days a week, and I want to thank you and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for all of your help.
Next person is Damon Carpenter, Fire Chief for the Fire Department.
Thank you, Damon Carpenter, back. It's officially my 3rd week as fire chief, so I don't have much to report. I'm currently evaluating the department, its services, and its equipment, but I may be able to answer any questions anyone may have.
Anybody have any questions? Anybody on Zoom have any questions?
Hello, Zoom.
I just want to say congratulations to Fire Chief Carpenter. I've been knowing him for a long time, and I know he'll do a great job for the city, so congratulations.
I'll do my best. Thank you, Councilman Franciski.
Anybody else? I also want to say thank you, congratulations, Chief Carpenter. I know you do a good job.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
You didn't sign these, did you, Monica? Sorry.
Next person is James, Building Commissioner.
Hello, everyone. Although my name is listed here, this is actually concerning redevelopment because it's related to Ordinance 210027, and it's an appropriation for redevelopment. So I see my part to Frank.
Sure, no problem. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Mr. Pro-Tem. Mr. President and members of the council, I'm presenting ordinance number 210027, and it's an ordinance for the annual budget to fund salaries, wages, benefits, supplies, and overhead for the department, and it's broken out per each one of the particular categories. And I'll go back to what Mr. Dalton said, that basically that dollars, hopefully we can receive them because, and I'm hoping that you can take into consideration the suspension of the rules and go through the 3rd reading really quick, because these dollars are very needed, very much so. And the purpose for that is because I'm falling behind on my timelines. We're not on the actual calendar year that most of the departments are. Ours run from June to July of the particular year, between the 2 years. And I'm falling behind because, we started getting used to how we had to come up here and do these particular appropriations. And so if you can take that consideration and suspend the rules, I truly would appreciate it so I can facilitate this quickly with the folks that need these services. And particularly 0231 CDBG for $2.7 million, and then for 0231 CDBG for $999,410, and for the home dollars, $1,245,810. I also want you to keep in mind, they're giving me more money. I'm going to be receiving another $2 million more, both in home and in CDBG. So we got plenty of money, but I need your help to make this go faster so I can take care of the people out there that really need ramps and things of that nature.
Any questions from any council members? Now, hearing, just want to inform you, Mr. Rivera, this cannot be suspended on 3rd and final reading because it has to have a public hearing on it, so that's not going to happen, so.
Can we go to the 1st and 2nd real quick?
It'll be up to the council.
Okay, I'm just asking. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Keith Savin, Director of Project Manager.
Good evening, Mr. Vice President, council members. Keith Selvey, Director of Project Management. Stand before you to talk about Ordinance 21-26. It's additional appropriations for the funding of some change orders over at the Black Stadium project. Be willing to answer any questions if needed.
Any questions from my fellow council members? Not hearing it. Can you explain the changes?
Sure. We have 3 change orders at this particular moment. I'm foreseeing another 3 on top. Change order number 1 is for soil testing and inspection. Change order number 2 is for removal of underground inlets, pipes, and electrical concrete duct banks. And change order number 3 was the design of all 3 egress coming out of the actual stadium. What that was we didn't take into consideration of folks coming out of the stands and possibly getting up underneath the actual bandstand. So we wanted to make sure that was secure. And again, the first 2 were change orders for what we call the home side of the field, where the home team will be playing, and I can foresee some more change orders happening on the visitor side. And I'm asking for additional $100,000 to take care of these change orders.
Any questions from the council? Yeah, I got one. You said soil inspection, correct?
Correct.
Well, shouldn't that have been done prior to everything being done?
Yes, we do corings. However, once the excavation does start, I may core over here, but bad soil could be over here. So once they started doing the digging, they discovered that there was unsuitable soil, as well as when we did the locates for the area, it did not pick up these particular concrete duct banks that were underneath.
What was the third one?
The third one was the redesigning of the egresses, the 3 egresses coming out of the stadium.
Okay.
Again, when the crowd comes out of the stadium, there was an opening underneath each part of those egresses that we wanted to close off.
All right. First, I want to congratulate you on your new position.
Thank you.
Second of all, in the future, when they do these soil samples, the site usually is tested, just not one little sliver. Just make sure when a site is tested, the whole site is tested, throughout the field or any lot or anything like that, so.
Just for the record, we do more than one just test. They do different areas, coring. We can't test the entire area, but we do different areas on both sides, and it was not detected at that point. And also, just for the record, we do have individuals that have been at each one of the actual common council meetings that could speak toward the GPS systems that are in all the vehicles for the city of East Chicago, if asked. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any committee reports? Any committee reports? Now, here are committee reports, board reports. Any board reports? Now, hearing no board reports, clerk, any ordinance on first reading?
Yes, ordinance 21-0025, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for fire department.
Is there a motion?
Motion on first and second.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Orange, seconded by Councilman Hill to hear it on first and second. Any questions? Not hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransiford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Next ordinance?
Ordinance 21-0026, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for local development agreement fund.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Make a motion for first and second reading?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Hill, seconded by Councilwoman Orange. Any questions? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes.
Orange?
Yes.
Rancifer?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Motion passed. Ordinance passed. Next ordinance.
Ordinance 21-0027, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for the Department of Redevelopment.
Is there a motion?
So moved
Move
on
to
first and
hear it
second.
on first and second reading.
I second.
Motion made by Councilman Franciski, seconded by Councilwoman Orange. Any questions? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield? Yes. Orange?
Yes.
Rancifer?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes. Any ordinances on second reading?
Yes. Ordinance 21-0018, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for ECPD Police Forfeitures Fund 0278.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Orange, seconded by Councilman Gonzalez. Is that correct?
Is that a second and third reading?
She said it was second.
I'm getting ready to suspend the rules.
Motion was made on second. Any questions? Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield? Yes. Garcia?
Yes.
Orange?
Yes.
Rancifer?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Councilwoman Orange?
Mr. President, I'd like to suspend the rules and hear it on third and final.
There's a motion to suspend the rules to hear it on third and final reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Hill. Any questions? Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield? Yes. Orange?
Yes.
Rancifer?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes. There's a motion, Councilman Orange.
Yes. Motion to hear it on final reading.
There's a motion to hear it on third and final reading by Councilwoman Orange. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Any questions? Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield? Yes. Orange?
Yes.
Rancifer?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes. Any ordinance on third reading?
Yes. Ordinance 21-0006, sponsored by Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for Public Works Department.
Is there a motion?
Mr. President?
Second.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Monroe, seconded by Councilwoman Winfield. Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes, Mr. President, I wanted to, I'm not sure how to do this, to make the motion to amend it, but,
Yeah, you just,
motion to amend?
yes.
I'm not, it's not, well, if Mr. Dalton can get up and explain exactly what it is.
Council people, the Finance Committee met, and under the same procedures that they had been recommending to the full council for the last couple months, they directed me to add detail to each of the ordinances that are up for final reading this evening. In no case did they direct me to change a fund. In no case did they direct me to cut a line item. So the items are merely an amended version being proposed by the Finance Committee, further delineation of the specific budget line items that will exist in the city's financial system. Because not everybody has copies, because we're not all sitting in the same room, I'm going to briefly, if that's okay, Mr. President, just summarize what you already heard. This is one of the more fluid Public Works Department additional appropriation, which has smoke detector testing, 1,110, elevator access, 505, Bozak Ford repairs, 15,000, Webb Ford repairs, 5,000, lawn maintenance for the city, 227,616, lawn maintenance for the parks, 477,000, watering and flower maintenance, 78,770, city planters, 13,780, city hall planters, 1,500, water reimbursement, 3,618, planting flowers and Maine, 100 element maintenance, 152,963. The additional appropriation request was for a rounded off $1 million. The only revision made is to make the total of the line items be the same as the approval, which is $976,862. That's the amended version being offered by the Finance Committee.
Well, can you stay there, Mr. Dalton? I just want to make sure everybody understands, all of the council understands that in case they have any questions.
Be happy to stay here.
Does anybody have any questions? Councilwoman Orange.
Okay, so you're amending it so that it just reflects the total amount. So if indeed something went wrong and they had to, because it's not too much difference in the 900 and something thousand to the million. So if something goes wrong, they would have to come back before this council. If they had a busted pipe or anything, they have to come back before this council to get that approved.
Yeah, and I'm not actually disputing the rounding, nor am I speaking on behalf of the committee. The issue is when we add detail to an ordinance by specific line item, the total needs to match the detail because I don't know where to put the rounding portion. So I'm not disputing it.
So I understand the logic in that, but the Finance Committee, I have a problem with this, is that every time they have a meeting, they seem to be only meeting with the people on the Finance Committee. When you're doing something like this, and it's going to change the bottom line of any ordinance that was put forth that wasn't our ordinance and somebody else's ordinance, it should have been a discussion with this council. Bring back a report, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're on these committees, is to bring back a report. We have a line that says committee meetings and say, this is what we would like to see done because of, and continue with that. Instead of this, when we get to this, it's always either ordinance already made or they've already made the decision and they have not involved. Now, maybe they have involved some people. I know I have not been talked to about this. And like I said, I know that we have wanted more information about how the money is going to be spent and everything like that, and I don't have a problem with that. But a Finance Committee is supposed to bring a report, then discuss it with the whole council, and then we move forward as a body, not just a few people, on how this is supposed to go. And I don't think it's working this way it's supposed to.
Thank you for your input. I can't speak for the whole committee nor the whole council.
Councilman Ransford.
I have a comment. So we're not making any changes. We're just essentially saying, okay, all the figures that you had add up to X amount of dollars, and that's what we're asking, that it comes out to, not because it seems as though some math is off somewhere. Is that accurate?
I think even that, Councilman Ransford, would be a little bit of a stretch. I'm not saying even the math is off. There's some rounding issues. So I took the pennies off, and in the rounding, $1 million was a little bit too much, and the amount that was given to you by the department head, $976,859.87, may have been a little too specific, so we rounded to a rounder number that added up to the same amount that will be put in the financial system. The controller's office needs to have a place to put these line items. They can't just wave a magic wand and say that there's an extra $13,000, because somebody has to figure out where to put it.
I have another question. Other than you, Steve, who did they talk to? Did they talk to the controller's office about this? Who did they talk to?
So I can only tell you who I talked to, Councilman Orange, and I spoke to no one. The department heads were directed not to respond to me directly. So my conversations have been with Mayor's financial advisor, Jim Bennett, and have been relating specifically to the source documentation prepared for you by the department heads. And so these numbers are the specific numbers prepared for you in writing by the department heads.
Any other question? Any other question?
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President,
Yes.
did Steve just say the department heads are told not to speak with him?
That is correct. The department heads, when I reached out to them on some specific questions, Council Lady, were told not to refer to me directly, but to direct their comments through Chief of Staff or the Mayor's advisor, Jim Bennett.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Winfield? Yes, I got one comment. This body is fiscally responsible for money. When you go over $25,000, to me, that's a lot. You know, we didn't change the ordinance. It's in place, like our chairman said, Mr. Ransford. We gave them what they asked for. This council, if it wishes to, because zero out any ordinance. That's the power that the state gives us. So this did not get cut. We just want to align item, continue to be fiscally responsible. Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez?
Going on the motion? Are we
Excuse me?
On the amended motion?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Excuse me, I just want to make sure everybody understands, is on the amended motion. So this is voting on the amended motion, and then we'll come back and vote for it on third and final reading, just to clarify everything. Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes. Yes.
Gonzalez?
She said yes.
Yes.
Hill?
No.
Winfield?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes.
Orange?
No.
Ransford?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Any questions on the original motion? Hearing none, roll call. Councilman?
So now, if they vote this in favor of her, that means they're gonna have to come back to the council, and we're gonna have to re-vote on that.
Could Councilman Hill speak up?
Okay, now, if this passes the way Monica wants it to, which is no problem, that means we're gonna have to come back to the council and re-vote on that 900-some million, that 900-some thousand.
No, so let me restate, Councilman Hill's asking if this amendment would cause us to have to come at a later date to re-vote, and that is not my understanding. The amendment has been offered, and now the amended version will be voted on third reading now, and there would be no reason to come back if that is adopted on third reading tonight. It would be adopted. The reason that it doesn't have to come back for a second public hearing is because there's really been a reduction from the $1 million. You have the right to reduce at any amendment. You cannot increase.
Any follow-up question, Councilman Hill?
Oh, well, with that being said, I changed my vote. Yes.
This being question part, we got Councilwoman Orange.
Attorney Mendel, is that your recommendation?
Yeah, I think, I would agree with what Mr. Dalton said. I think that it would not require republication of the proposed ordinance because I wouldn't consider it to be a substantial material alteration to the ordinance. And because of that, I don't think you need to republish and have a second public hearing. So I think the council is allowed to go ahead and proceed on it.
Councilman Gonzalez.
I just want to explain to Councilman Hill, all we wanted is specific. Everything is line item. It's the same amount. So when I ask for an amendment, it's the amendment for each item. And then once we vote on the amendment item, then we re-vote to pass the whole thing.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call again, excuse me.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
No.
Ransomberg,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Kerskine.
Yes. Next ordinance?
Ordinance 21-0007, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for technology IT department.
Motion on third and final reading?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Franciski, seconded by Councilman Rowe. Any questions? Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Again, Mr. President, I make a motion to amend ordinance 210007.
There's a motion to amend ordinance 210007. Is there a second?
So moved. Second.
Second by Councilman Monroe. Mr. Brown, excuse me.
For the sake of all those listening in, the motion to amend includes the same exact disclaimer. There have been no changes to line items. There's merely been detail added to the amended ordinance for contractual services in the LDA Agreement Fund 271. The amount originally advertised was $910,135. The amount is now $909,983, which is the total of $9,983 for IT fiber camera maintenance, $450,000 for security cameras, $300,000 for control system upgrade, and $150,000 for facility cameras. There's also an additional appropriation for $237,865 in the general fund. That was changed to $237,863, $2 changed, which is the total of the following three line items: IT software licensing, $67,673, IT fiber maintenance, $50,000, IT hardware, $120,190. They are the exact detailed additions of the amounts listed by line item that would need to be put into the computer by the controller. No reductions have been made besides the totals.
Councilwoman Orange.
And as I said before, if indeed, because of the way this process is going, this has almost taken us a month and a half to 2 months to get an ordinance through. And as we know, things change, prices go up because of the way things are with the COVID and everything like that. And so we've pigeonholed them into these prices. And I'll just make, for instance, we were buying something at the health department, and the price went up because prices go up. So how do they have to come back for every little thing each time because there's no wiggle room in there? I'm not saying that you gotta have $500,000 over the amount, but there's nothing over the amount in case something happens between now and then.
The challenge, and I understand your point, the challenge is when specific requests are made, I can't determine where to put those extra dollars. So the $152 extra dollars in the LDA account, I don't know where to put it. There's not like a line item for retainage. And the $2 extra in the general fund, I'm not sure which line item to put that in. So I needed to use the numbers provided by the department heads and just add them up.
Councilwoman Orange?
Can Keith Selby come up, please?
Mr. Vice President and Council, I do understand what you're trying to do. However, you're hindering each department. Let me give you an example. So the Public Works Department came before you with the total number of things they need to get done, including repairs. So what happens is that we're waiting a month and a half to get the actual allocations to do an unforeseen repair. So the extra money is needed just in case something happens. If Mr. Dalton needs to know where to put it, they can ask. I'm sure that we'll be more than happy to give that information. However, if, say for instance, to your example, we get a quote, takes a month and a half, we go back out, they say the price changed. We have now a set price that we have to now come back to you for some additional funding for that particular project. And again, I do understand checks and balances, but there are unforeseen things that happen. There are unforeseen things that happen in the field. There are unforeseen things in IT when they're doing installations that they're not sure about. And at which point in time, if that happens, they're going to bill us, but then we're going to have to come back before you again to ask. We're not asking for thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars over the actual amount. We just need something just in case there's something that happens unforeseen. That's all I wanted to make sure I mentioned.
Any other questions?
Dwayne Ransford has a question.
Yes, Mr. Ransford?
Yeah, I have actually it's a twofold question, one of which being, when we're requesting these bids from these various contractors, generally I know from experience, they, in most cases, say this bid is good for X amount of days, 90 days.
Typically it's 30 days, sir, 30 days.
Let the councilman speak, please.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead, Ransford.
So that's one point. So if we could just get them to, obviously just say, hey, this is what we have to go through, whatever the case may be. Just expect, let them know that can they have their bid good for, because material cost doesn't necessarily change every 30 days. That's not really realistic, one. And my other question was in regards to when we're getting these bids, if we could, like you just said, you increase it, it's a few dollars over, whatever the case may be. Can we have some type of contingency cost built into the bid so that way, if the bid is, I don't know, 100,000, maybe 5-10% contingency cost, that way when you're asking for the dollars, it includes the contingency cost. So that way, if it goes a little over like you suggested, you don't have to necessarily come back to the council for additional appropriation.
May I answer, Mr. Vice President?
Yes.
Okay, so we can't control when we ask for a bid. I welcome each one of you members to come to the Board of Works where we do our evaluations on each and every bid. When we get a bid, the contractor, they define how good or how long these particular prices are good for. And at which point in time, when we come back with a possible PO, they can say, you know what, the price of lumber has skyrocketed. I can't give you this 2x4 at this price any longer. So now, the department head's in a rock and a hard place. He has a PO that is basically not enough to take care of the particular project. What we have to do at that point in time is start going through this procedure that we've kind of got accustomed to here in 2021. And what I've seen is it's taking, as Councilwoman Orange said, a month and a half. at its earliest. That does not include when the controller's office actually receives the money and sends us the PO. So you add another week on top of that. So all I'm saying is I understand transparency. I understand that you guys want accountability. However, for these folks in this room, this is nothing but an exercise on trying to get their jobs done. And for whatever reason this is happening, these gentlemen and ladies are not responsible for it. And it's making our jobs harder to get these things done. I don't know, now again, I'm speaking from public, I don't know if a garbage truck in your area is going to go
Keep
down.
your comments to us, and please, let's wind it up, please.
Again, I don't know if a garbage truck in Mr. Garcia's district is going to break tomorrow. I don't know that. But if it does, I'll wait a month and a half to get it fixed. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Councilwoman Orange? Yes.
Good evening, Colorado Corporation Council. Just to address a few of Councilman Ransford's questions or comments. Bidding in the private sector is entirely different from bidding in the public sector. We have to strictly adhere to Indiana's public works laws, which don't allow us to build the kind of contingencies he contemplated into contracts for materials. I think everyone, or most people are aware that COVID has driven commodity prices crazy. They're up, they're down, they're all over the place, they're very volatile. So I understand your concern and your experience from the private sector, but again, as Mr. Selvey recommended, it's all there at the public works meetings that we absolutely adhere to Indiana's public works laws, which force us to be efficient in the way we build things, so we can't just build in contingencies for the fact that, another month and a half might elapse before we can give the go-ahead to start a project that, we let the project 2 months ago or so, and the price of asphalt or wood or whatever has greatly fluctuated. So again, I just wanted to emphasize that there's a real difference between doing public works projects and the bids and the process you have to go through and that we have to do for the city than someone's experience may be in private business. So I don't want to belabor the point, but it's a world of difference. I understand what he's saying. It makes a lot of sense if I'm doing work on my house, but it won't work with the city because of state law restrictions.
Appreciate it. Any other comment? Yes, Councilman.
Keith, shall we come back to the podium, please?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, just a question in regards, I know you said that if a truck breaks down, you wait a month and a half to get it fixed. So, just like you came today earlier in regards to additional change order to Block Stadium, would it be that much more difficult to come in regards to a change order to something else that you have within?
To answer your question, yes. And let me tell you why. Because when we have a change order in the field on a particular project, the contractor comes to us and say, hey, we discovered something that was unforeseen today. And at which point in time, they ask us, can we fix it? This is the cost for it. Right now, I don't have the money for it, so I can't. So it's delaying projects. So in terms of, yes, we can come back in a month and a half later. However, it's delaying the project. Because whatever the issue is, we can't assign a contractor to do work that they don't have money for.
Right. And I get it, Keith, and I understand the sense of urgency with certain projects, but if you just look back on Guthrie Street, there, in my opinion, there, street that I grew up on, there's been absolutely no sense of urgency of getting that resolved, but, I guess it's certain preferences on certain projects when it comes to a sense of urgency.
I disagree with Mr. Councilman. We're working diligently to get Guthrie Street completed. As a matter of fact, Guthrie Street should be completed by the end of July. We did have some hiccups early on with the contractor that we did a contract with that was the lowest bidder. And that's something that the city as well as our lawyers are looking at, because I believe the criteria to award is lowest most responsible. So we're addressing those scenarios, we're looking at them, and we're trying to make sure that we get things done in a timely fashion. And that, i.e., is my new role, to make sure that each city project, construction project, is handled by myself as the person to go to facilitate the logistics of each project, to make sure three things are happening: that the actual department heads doing what they're supposed to do, that the consultant is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the contractor is doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, to answer your question, I do agree with you, there has been some delays at Guthrie. However, I may throw this out and I'll back away. We have discovered countless unforeseen things, the last of which was a 1902 sanitary basin. So, do we expect it? No. However, we could not find a replacement. It took some time to get it, to make sure it met the ratings. But again, yes, it does affect each one of these individuals in this room, as well as it does add time, as well as late. If you guys come to the Public Works meeting, Val, who's the president, has tons of late because of late invoicing, because we don't have the funding.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Vice President.
Yes, sir.
We can come back up to the podium.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But when we speak of Guthrie Street, that touches the nerve on me, okay? It's been 3 years. And if, to look at Guthrie Street today, to go there, you can't ride down Guthrie Street. The residents that live in the 39th block of Guthrie Street on back further from Speedway on down to Michigan, it is horrible. The residents have to use the alleys. It's dangerous. If you don't live on that street, you don't know what I'm talking about. I lived there. My mother was there. And it hurts me to go to Speedway, to turn and look down that street and see what the residents have been going through for 3 years. Now, you say that July is going to be the date that should be done. I'm going to be on Guthrie Street in July because I have a great concern and I am very tired of looking at that. And I hope that it's not going to be another delay because the residents are fed up. I am fed up because that's where I grew up at. That's where my mom did. And I care about the residents over there. So I'm going to mark your words on that July. I didn't hear this once before, but I'm sure the residents are going to be looking forward to July of 2021 for Guthrie Street to be straight. Thank you.
I must add, weather permitting and funds being allocated. Thank you.
Councilman Hill, you had a question?
Yeah, for Steve. Yeah, Steve, you've been our financial expert. With all this is going on, what do you recommend to this council for this particular situation?
Please speak up.
Steve, you being the expert in finance and you represent this council.
Yes, sir.
With all this going on, what do you recommend this council for this situation?
My recommendation, Councilman Hill, all along has been that the department heads provide more detail, which they have done most recently, and that the additional appropriations reflect that same detail, which is what these amendments reflect. That would be my recommendation.
By saying that, that means what the city has proposed, that's what we should go with.
So let me speak to, I think what you're asking me, you cut me off if I'm misunderstanding you. If the city's concern is
cost overruns. If the city's concern is emergency repairs, these department heads should probably submit an annual amount that they would like for emergency repairs or cost overruns. You are not bound by Public Works bidding law. You can appropriate anything you want. The Board of Public Works is bound by public bidding law. You are not. So if a department would like to ask for $500,000 for repairing things that might break for the rest of the year, they can bring you that additional appropriation request at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Orange.
So Steve, what they sent us, like, I'm looking here at IT, and maybe Kevin can explain. So
Yes.
the IT department, and they gave an itemized statement on how much it was. So the one that you prepared for the IT, let me see if I can find it.
007.
Okay, so what you're saying is that their math didn't add up?
I'm saying that there might have been some rounding issues amounting to $152 in one fund and $2 in the other fund. So I guess that's why I was kind of waving my hand. I think we left off on my ordinance that was introduced. Yeah. And that's the question I had for Mr. Dalton is I understand what you're saying. However, when I look at the ordinance that was presented for first and second reading, in the amounts for the funds that were laid out there, and I referenced the detail that I provided, they matched dollar for dollar. So I don't understand where these discrepancies are coming in. Like what quotes are causing that, discrepancy? I mean,
I'm not going off a quote. I should stand in front of the microphone. I'm not going off of any quotes. I'm only going off of your numbers. If there's an error, it's mine. Right. If there's an error dropping from these specifics to these totals, that's my error.
Okay. And it's dollars. So
$152.
Right. So I'm not overly concerned. I was confused as to how it got to that because the ordinance had dollar amounts in the funds and in my detail matched that dollar for dollar. That's the only reason I was confused.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Orange.
So do we need to amend it since it was, you said it may be an error in your math?
I don't think I made an error. I'm being nice. This was... I know computers, I don't know math, so it's fine my own. So this is, Steve, this is what was in the ordinance. Yeah. For example, $910,000, right, $135. In my detail was $910,135. Right. So I don't know where that $150 difference came into play. So what I did was I took the exact numbers that came from this sheet right here, and I dropped it onto the ordinance with these specific account numbers. Okay. It's possible that whoever did this one missed you by $152. Okay. And this came from the controller's office. This came from Munis, this came from me. Okay. It's possible the department heads had provided some information to the controller's office, and in getting it to the attorney's office, which drew up the ordinance, some small rounding errors have arisen. Remember, this is $152 in a million, right, in $1 million request. So I can see where that came from, Councilman, because the numbers that he just showed me came out of our financial system and the budgets versus what I presented was what I put together for the numbers for the ordinance. So I could see where those $150 or $2 came in. Okay.
Any other questions?
All right.
Any other questions? Yes.
If, just say, right now, if they're going over, they got some left over, it's just reverting back into the general fund, correct?
That's absolutely correct. If we don't spend the money, it stays in the general fund.
Some of this is getting ridiculous. I'm all about transparency, but come on. Are we gonna nickel and dime all these guys, for every little thing? When is it gonna stop? That's my comment.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I got a comment. Checks and balances are given to this council by state legislature, by the law. And that's what's given to us. We will do our job, we'll do our due diligence. We're not going to give nobody a blank check to do anything. So it's given to us by state law. Councilman Franciski,
Councilman Franciski, I did not interrupt you. Councilman Franciski. Councilman Franciski. State law gives us the checks and balances. That's what we've done. That's all it is. Any other questions? Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
No.
Hill,
No.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange. Orange,
No.
She said no.
Lansford,
Yes.
Monroe. Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Next ordinance.
Right.
Ordinance.
Excuse me. So that was for the change. We're going to vote to pass it on third and final reading with the amendment. Roll call. Roll call.
You say my name?
Gonzalez,
Oh, yes.
Franciski,
No.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
No.
Lansford,
You got the mute button on.
Lansford,
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Next ordinance. Next ordinance.
Ordinance 21-0008, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for fire department.
Any motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Hill, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Any questions? Councilman Orange.
Steve Dalton. So I don't want people that are watching this or people in the audience to think that the city didn't send you anything, because I'm looking at,
Can you please speak up?
I'm making sure that everybody knows that the administration did send the numbers.
Absolutely, they did.
Not like they didn't send any numbers, because we talking about transparency and everything, and our due diligence and what state law tells us to do and all that.
That's true.
So they sent the numbers. So I don't want anybody to walk away and think that the city just did what it has done in the past, is put contractual services. They did give you a line item, so
Every department head that was on one of these appropriations tonight provided information.
I wanted that to be stated, because it makes it look, because you did this, that the city didn't send you anything.
That's absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. The department heads provided substantial documentation.
Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
No. No.
Lansford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Next ordinance.
Ordinance 21-0009, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for police department.
Is there a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Monroe, seconded by Councilman Hill. Any questions? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
No.
sorry, Orange,
No?
Rancifer,
Yeah.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Next ordinance?
Ordinance 21-0010, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for Marina Port Authority.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Monroe. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Councilman Hill. Any questions on ordinance 210010? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes, motion to amend ordinance 210010.
There's a motion to amend ordinance 210012. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Monroe. Mr. Bowden?
I will summarize again. This is the additional appropriation from the Marina Port Authority. The amount requested was $666,000. It has been reduced by $227,000, or $227 total dollars, not thousand, to $665,773, which is the total of the specific line items requested in a 4-page, very detailed document from the department head. This might actually help anecdotally, sorry. Well, you got one page in your agenda a month ago. It was an accident. There was an Excel spreadsheet that was turned into a PDF, and only one page came through to you. I requested the additional pages because it was obvious we were missing $600,000 in detail. Those pages were provided by the mayor's financial advisor, Jim Bennett, and we now have those pages, and we list those specific line items, and the only difference is $227, which is, again, a rounding issue.
And I'd like to say I asked that it not be rounded because I did not like that 666.
That was not the reason, but that's another good reason. True, but any other questions from any council person? Just want to touch on what he said earlier, what Steve said earlier, with the line item. I know this has been brought up before, and I should have said it earlier. When something needs to be done, like for repairs or something, Steve Sullivan said that it could be appropriated in advance. You know, I don't know where anybody doesn't understand that, but it can be put in advance, like he said, and it can be put in orders. An example is like redevelopment with the home buying. He could have asked for all of that at the beginning of the year, and guess what? We had it for the whole year. That's how simple it is. But Councilman Lynch, excuse me.
I'll yield to her, and then I'll make my comment. I didn't.
Councilman Lynch?
Councilman Garcia, they'd have to be clairvoyant, to know what repair going to be needed before it's needed. I mean, and the way the council has set itself, if you put anything in that don't belong, then they want to amend it out. So I don't think that you can just put an amendment in for repair that you don't even know that's going to happen. So I don't think that's right, because other than that, they would just be adding in stuff, and we would never know what they're adding in for. I mean, it may be something as simple as the home buyers, because he may be saying that he's going to have 10 home buyers, and he wind up with 20. Or like Keith Salvi said about a truck breaking down. He doesn't know that truck is going to break down until it breaks down. So I don't think that we could lead this council to believe that you can put in for a year before of repairs, because you don't even know what they're going to be.
Any other questions? Mr. Dolan?
Sir.
Can the city put in for advance for maintenance, correct?
Yeah, I think we're talking a little bit about the chicken and the egg here, Mr. President. During the budgeting process this summer,
The department heads will meet with the finance committee and they'll prepare what they believe their expenses will be for 2022. And it's a 18-month projection. And the more detail they prepare into that process through those workshops, the more apt this council would be to approve the budget that is prepared by the mayor. One of the things we run into sometimes is that the budget that comes to you from the mayor does not match what the department heads told you in the summer, either by misunderstanding or change of priorities. So the more the detail that comes to you, like we've been getting the last couple months, the more those workshops are valuable for you to be able to approve the 2022 budget, which does project things like truck repairs and does project things like emergency sewer break and emergency water breaks.
Mr. Don, isn't the budget a projection on what you're going to spend the next year?
I think that is the definition of budget, yes.
Councilwoman Lawrence?
But we haven't passed a budget in 3 years.
There have been 3 different versions of that process. One has been you passed and the mayor vetoed. Another has been you didn't pass you passed, the mayor vetoed and you attempted to override, but there was changes made that the state didn't allow. So there have been some fisticuffs over the budget process. We have not had an approved and valid budget since 2019, so you're correct.
Another thing, so she brought up redevelopment. If he budgeted 20 and 10 comes, that money comes back to the general fund, correct?
No, redevelopment, just so to be clear, redevelopment would stay in redevelopment.
Correct.
So those funds would stay in there. And in that example, which is a good example, if Frank projects that he's going to do 10 and he gets 5 into that and it's only March, my guess is he's going back in to ask for 10 more because he's running ahead of the pace that he projected.
Correct. Any other questions? This is for the change, correct? For the vote for the amendment? Mm-hmm. This vote is for the amendment version. Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
No.
Hill?
No.
Winfield? Winfield?
No.
Garcia?
Yes.
Orange?
Yes.
Orange?
Yes.
Rancifer?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Motion, the change passes. We're going to vote on the ordinance to pass on third and final reading.
So moved.
No, it's been made already.
Oh, okay.
Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
No.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield?
No.
Orange?
Yes.
Rancifer?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes. Next ordinance.
Ordinance 21-011, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland and Councilman Terrence Hill, additional appropriation ordinance for building department.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion made by Councilman Hill. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Orange. Any question? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Motion to move 210011 as amended. Mr. Dalton, please.
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez for the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Monroe. Mr. Dalton?
It's possible this one will be even faster. The building department requested $703,000. We recommend $703,000, the exact same amount, because that's what the math adds up to. The only thing that has been changed on this amended version is line item detail to the specifics that the controller will need to put it into the finance system of office supplies of $3,000, contractual services of $45,000 for phase 1s and 2s, contractual services of $150,000 for environmental abatements, education of $2,000, clothing and equipment of $3,000, and contractual services related to West Calumet Homes of $500,000. The total is $703, and there was no change made to the total.
So what are we amending?
You're amending with the line item detail. The ordinance brought to you by the mayor merely gave you the number, $703,000. We have added the detail to the ordinance.
I thought we had the details for that.
You do. You have the details submitted by the department, so we incorporated it into the actual legal document. So they were separate documents.
I'm not quite understanding. So they sent the information, you just put it in the line item. So we're amending it because it wasn't in the line item. Is that what you're saying?
That's absolutely correct. The only thing that was stated on the original ordinance for every ordinance that's been brought to you since the beginning of time is the total. The $703,000 was brought to you. That's the only thing required by law, so there's nobody doing anything wrong. The Finance Committee has asked that the detail provided by the department be put actually into the document you're approving. So the detail by line item with the codes that will go into the Controller's Office financial system. Department number.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
And I'd just like to say, the line item too for contractual services for West Calumet Homes, and I know this is what Councilman Hill's concerned about, that $500,000 is going to stay in that. It's not going to deviate. That's specifically for that.
Any other questions?
Yes, Dwayne Ransom, just so I'm clear and everybody else is clear, there's absolutely no changes made. We're just putting the detailed line item that the department head put, and we're just combining those, matching those with the dollar amount requested.
That's correct. Any other comments, Mr. Lucifer?
Oh, that's it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, the vote is on the amendment version to amend. Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Yes.
Winfield?
Yes.
Orange?
Yes.
Ransford?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes. Any questions on the original motion to pass it on third and final reading? Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Winfield?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes.
Orange?
Yes.
Ransford?
Yes.
Monroe?
Yes.
Next ordinance.
Ordinance 21-0012, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for planning department.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion made by Councilman Hill. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Franciski. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Question.
Hold on.
Steve, on this one, you don't have anything in the line items like you do the other one. You just got contractual services. Now, did you print up this paper that says projects waiting for funding?
I cannot hear.
I was saying on this particular one, you guys may not have it, I don't know. But this one doesn't show the line items. It just says as amended, but it just says contractual services. And then it looks like maybe the department head maybe have sent this where it says projects waiting for funding.
That is true. The projects waiting for funding approval is a administration document that each department head is using to submit to you the detail.
Okay, so what are we amending on this?
I don't think there's been a motion to amend.
There's none.
I didn't make it a motion.
Well, it's got up here as amended.
I don't think anybody made that motion, though.
Okay, so, okay.
Councilman Orange, I asked you if you could drop your microphone and then they might be able to hear you better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on ordinance 210012? Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Franciski?
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Next ordinance?
Ordinance 21-0013, sponsored Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for Department of Redevelopment.
Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilman Hill, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Orange. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Motion to amend ordinance 210013. Mr. Dalton?
There's a motion made to amend by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Monroe.
We'll be happy to hear that once again, this amendment does not have any changes to the totals. I guess the department head will also be happy to hear that. Again, we've only added the details so that you can see the specific line items from the financial system. Contractual services, $310,000 for down payment assistance. Contractual services, $22,500 for appraisals. Electric, $5,760. Gas, $25,000. Water, $35,000. Other capital outlays, $160,000. Contractual services in the gaming fund, $160,000. Other capital outlays in the economic development fund, $100,000. No changes to the totals.
Any question on the amendment version? We're voting to amend. Roll call?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield. Yes. Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Now we're going to vote for ordinance's consideration for third and final reading for ordinance 210014. Any questions? I have one front. Mr. Rivera? Could you step up to the podium? In the last meeting, I asked for, because you had the municipal building there, because it's such a large amount, I asked you for, what's this for, the separate units or whatever. You said he's going to get that to me, and never got it.
I don't have it with me.
The redevelopment, yes.
No, we're in engineering now. You just passed me.
Oh, excuse me. We're on 13. We're on 13.
I don't have that available.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. I didn't hear your response. I'm
I
sorry.
don't have that available. I need to go talk to my supervisors to request for that.
Mr. Rivera, you know what? I asked you that question that last time. I need you to take this seriously, because if you're not,
It's not that I'm taking it serious. It's the fact that it's been already asked of the council that the process should be identified with our chief of staff. That's the process. You all knew about this way in the beginning. And so nothing was ever requested of her in writing.
Mr. Rivera, you came before this council and asked for money. I don't have to go ask the chief of staff when you sit in front of me asking for appropriation. So you're telling me, all the department heads here, if we got a question for them or want them to produce any information, we got to go ask Senator, the chief of staff. That's what you're telling me right now. Because you know that's wrong. Okay? If you don't have that information, just say, Councilman Garcia, I don't have that information. That's plain and simple. Just plain and simple. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
This is a final reading.
Excuse me?
A final vote.
Yes, this is for the third, third and final vote, Steve, or? Third and final. Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez,
No.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Monroe,
No.
Garcia.
No. Next ordinance?
Ordinance 21-0014, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for engineering department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Hill. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Franciski. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Motion to amend ordinance 210014.
There's a motion to amend ordinance 210014. Is there a second?
So moved. Second.
Second by Councilman Rowe. Steve?
Some of you may be happy that this is the last ordinance that I have on my docket for amending this evening. There is also no changes on the totals on this ordinance. They are merely reflecting the detail for the Controller's Office to put this into the financial system. The general fund is salary and wages of $105,154.27. And somebody might say, why didn't we or they round? When we're talking about payroll, rounding does not pay off well because we don't want to run out of 27 cents for paying somebody's salary. Engineering Department Gaming Fund, $1 million for street engineering, $1.5 million for street repairs, $1.5 million for contractual services, $131,100 for another contractual services line. Engineering Department MVH Fund, $1,475,000 contractual service, and the LRS Fund, Local Roads and Street, $550,000. No changes, all totals reflecting what was advertised to the public and provided to you by the Mayor's Office. Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad you're doing these disclaimers on these because it doesn't look like the department heads were trying to get away with anything, and I don't want the public to think that.
Nope. This detail came from the department head.
Any other questions on the amendment? Hearing none, roll call on the amendment.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. We're going to hear on third and final reading ordinance 210014.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would like Mr. William Allen to come up, please.
Yes.
Hi. And I'm calling you up because I know I've worked with you on the project for the 4100. I've called Mr. Allen up because I've worked with him previously on the 4100 block of Homerly. There are 3 or 4 houses that are still getting flooded during the rain, and if what happens is when it rains really hard in the alley, it pools, and there's about 3 or 4 houses that get about a foot of water in their garage. And I've had a couple more of the residents reach out to me and ask a time, date, or some kind of projection. And I wanted to know, because I did hear alley repair, what fund are you looking at for here for the 41st block of Homerly?
So that will be coming out of the resurfacing.
The local roads and streets, or where am I looking?
LRMS.
Okay. And do you know when that project is going to get started?
We are currently getting prices for French drains to be installed. For this specific alley, 3 are going in and also being repaved for the 4100 block of Homerly.
But the last time I talked to you, which was at the council meeting, you said that the French drains weren't going to work, and you were going to do something else.
So we hired an engineering firm to come out and do some additional surveying. So we got their expertise. They actually designed a French drain to work.
Specifically
for this alley. 3 will be going in.
And when do you When are you looking to have that project start?
Probably in the next month, month and a half
Okay,
to install.
okay.
Say your name and title, please.
And then this is, Julio.
I'm Julio Arichavala Delgado, the new city engineer now. I am civil engineer PE. I have a degree in hydraulics. And answer your question, we are going to do some better to you in this alley. I'm going to design a small survey over there with 3 manholes with a 6 inches pipe until the manhole in the next street. We are ready to do this. Maybe in 3 weeks, we are hired to somebody for fix that, because sometimes the problem is that not in all places the French drains works. As for that, now we are going to design a better systems in some places with the sewer, a small sewer, not a huge thing, a small sewer, because I know that this works better. If you will, please, I'm sorry for the delay, but maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I'm going to start in your alley, in another alley, because the same problem in Todd Street, in one...
In between Todd and Olcott, 4800 block.
4800 block.
Situation.
It's the exactly same thing. The French drains doesn't work over there.
Yeah, currently there's one French drain in that alley, and it does not accommodate all the rainfall.
Okay.
Doesn't work.
So 3 weeks. We're looking at around 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you explain what a French drain is?
So, a French drain is a manhole that goes into the ground. Sometimes it has a bottom, sometimes it doesn't. It just takes care of a problem. It's not a permanent fix. It just helps the water dissipate into the ground.
Councilwoman Orange?
So has this money already been approved for you under this ordinance?
It's within this ordinance, yeah.
Julio, what's your last name?
Arichavala. A-R-I-C-H-A-V-A-L-A, Delgado.
Delgado? Okay, Delgado, okay, that's what I'm refer you, Delgado.
I know it's a hard thing.
Can you guys do me a favor? I know me and Councilman Monroe, we got a little call reference 443 Vernon, a lot of water standing out there in the street. Can you take a look out there on that one? When it rains, that water just gathers.
We are going to check Vernon Street also, because somebody called me today.
How you get a call and I live across the street, man? And who calling you from over there that don't know me and that's my street? And don't nobody even live over there. They've been working on that sewer area. John and all those guys been working in that area for years.
Is that a question for me or for Julio?
Question for you, mister.
Well, I'll answer any question. Councilman Hill? Councilman Hill? Councilman Hill? Are you cussing at this meeting, Councilman Hill? Are you cussing?
I said doggone.
Just watch your language. Watch your language. Councilman Hill, I will answer any resident's call.
Well, could you confirm what residents call you? You can do that in private. They can't look around, somebody calling you from the third floor. I just can't believe it. I put money on it that they're not.
Councilman Hill, just watch your language.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman Hill.
I'm sitting some Councilman Large and I didn't go in the district.
Don't even come over there, man.
I was called.
Point of order, Mr. Hill.
All right, that's simple.
Just hold it down in the audience, please.
Why did you supposed to be my little brother, big brother, why didn't you call and tell me about it?
Just like you didn't call me when I messed up, I was supposed to mess up, did you?
What messed up? What you messed up?
Let's bring this point of order. Let's go forward. Point of order. Anything else for Mr. Allen and Mr. Delgado? Anything else? Councilman Franciscan?
Yeah, William, and we were really good in the past. Maybe is it possible you could probably just send out what you're doing as far as alley repavements and French drains and everything else to each council person, so we know what, you know, what's going on in each, everybody's district, so then, you know, we won't have all this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Delegado and Mr. Allen? Hearing none, thank you, guys, we appreciate it.
One thing, I'm here to help to all districts. I don't care if you call me any day, I go to make an inspection, I want to help any alley, any sidewalk needs to be repaired. I'm ready to help. Here on board. The engineering department now is going to work very good. I promise
I'm
that.
good, because you guys worked with me already, so I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. Delegado and Mr. Allen.
Mr. President, I'd like to say something to the young man. You did respond to that citizen, and I commend you on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Steve, is this on third and final reading, or this is still an amendment? Third and final reading? All right. Any other comments? Hearing none, final vote for ordinance 210014. Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransiford,
Yes.
Monroe. Monroe?
Yes, yes, yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Passes. Last ordinance.
Ordinance 21-0015, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriation ordinance for health department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Orange. Is there a second? Second by who?
Winfield.
Councilwoman Winfield. Any questions? Not hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yep.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransiford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Any resolutions?
No.
Old business, any old business? Councilwoman Orange.
So have we got the council Zoom yet?
I know they're trying to work with Val, so Val could pay it with a credit card, because it has to be paid from month to month.
Okay. So do you know, Alita, you?
Yes.
Gabby, under the council secretary. I spoke to them today, and they can do a yearly Zoom channel. They're recommending that we get two, one for backup, and it'd be $150 a year. I spoke to Kevin, we will be able to do a PO, but we have to set that up. So that's still in the works, because I spoke to them today, because I know we're going back and forth trying to get the information. So as soon as we get everything cleared up, I just need a decision if we're going to go with one line or with two Zoom channels.
Will they need a public hearing for 150?
No, there's already significant budget available to be used for subscriptions.
In the council line budget, we got enough money.
So I just need to know how many we're going to do, if we're going to do one line or two lines, and proceed from there.
Kevin, if there is any, is it going to be a contract, or how's that going to be done?
So the recommendation I went through, we have a Zoom licensing for the civil city already, and we were able to purchase that with the PO process. What I'm recommending is that you purchase 2 licenses, meaning that you would be able to register each one under a different management email, if you will. So whoever is managing them, if it's yourself or whoever, if they're not able to do it, then the backup can easily, log in with their account and do the same thing. Mr. Dalton recommended that we create a city email that can be registered to use so that you wouldn't have to use your personal email. We can do that. That can be created. However, you would need to access that city email for communication. I would recommend that we create more like generic, like a Gmail or Hotmail account to serve the same purpose, but it'd be a lot easier to access that versus the city network account.
Any questions? I just asked, I don't know if there's a need to have 2. We survived all this time with 1. Ryan has been excellent, along with that. The entire IT department has been excellent.
And if you are going to create it under a general Gmail account and you share that, then then 1 should be fine. 1 should be fine.
If you could have that contract before us for that next one,
Right. As soon as we're able to get the quote from Zoom for the account, then we'll be able to process it through so basically it's not really even a contract, but if that's what you prefer, to have a contract come before you to approve it, then we'll see if we can get something for the next meeting.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilwoman Orange.
This is for Attorney Mendel. Oh, you can come on up.
You sit down.
Okay.
Kevin, it's not Kevin, eh? Okay.
So just so that we're clear, because Councilman Hill had the thing about the public hearings. When we're doing this many ordinances every time, during a public hearing, each one of these have to be done by the ordinance, by the ordinance number, plus it has to have an explanation to the public for each one, even though we explained it the last time they were here?
Right, because the public hearing it gives the public an opportunity to comment upon it. It's a remonstrance, it allows for a remonstrance of the public, so yes.
Okay, I just want to make it clear so that we don't have no confusion in the future.
No, I understand.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Mendel.
Oh, no. Yes. The reason I say that because I'm sure that it happened before when the president was here, Mr. JR, and he announced that to each department head to just go over a little bit because we do have it here in a hard copy. And I know he said that before, so I would just reiterate on what he had brought out to the administrators.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was during the public hearing or not, I'm not sure. But I think it would be proper to allow the public hearing process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other old business? Councilman Hill.
This old business because the last meeting, Councilwoman asked the president to ask you to put your mask on. You went through the entire council meeting without your mask. You showing the public how it's supposed to be done by not obeying the mandated rule of wearing a mask. And you conducting the council meeting without your mask on not one time. And nobody wants to say anything about it. I don't think that's right.
Thank you, Councilman Hill. It's hard for me to speak with this mask on. We're doing so much talking. I know meetings having a difficult time hearing us, but thank you. Any other old business? Yes, I got one. Steve, I know last time we had ordinance 210024. It was then brought back in ordinance 0021. Is that correct?
I don't know my ordinances off the top of my head, but there were 2 ordinances, Council President, that were appropriations for grants. They were not additional appropriations, so I think you passed them all in one sitting.
Yeah, can you check, verify?
I would be happy to.
21-0024?
Yes.
Because that one had the $60,000 for Bozak and another $100,000 for vehicle repairs, but I know they had the tasers in that also, the $82,000, so I want to find out why they didn't bring it back.
Okay.
Any other old business? New business? Hearing no new business, public expression. Anybody on Zoom has public expression? Hearing none? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Councilman Oranger, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Hill. Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Vanderpool,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes, yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.